Hello friends, I'm Catherine and we are going to be doing a bit of an experiment today. I've got 4 tiles and 3 different colors of paint. I've got some white and some black and a little bit of yellow mixed up. And the idea is, at least my thought is, that we know that lubricants like silicone will create cells when you mix them into your acrylic pouring before you pour it. But what would an acid do? That's the whole premise of this. What would an acid do? I think it'll probably just bleach it, quite honestly. But because I'm a beekeeper, I happen to have oxalic acid just on hand. This is oxalic acid. It's also known as wood bleach, which is probably why I think it's going to bleach it. But because I'm a beekeeper, I've got oxalic acid on hand, and I want to just try mixing oxalic acid in and seeing what it'll do to the painting. I don't know whether or not it'll have an effect on it immediately. It probably won't act immediately, but we'll pour it. We'll give it a chance to sit for, let's call it 5 days, and then I will come back and show you the results. So I'm going to do this first one, as a control. It will just be the paints. Then for funsies, I'm going to do this second one with an auto lubricant, because we know the results of that, but it's always good to be able to replicate results. Then I'm going to do one with oxalic acid that has been dissolved into water. So I'm going to put a little bit of water into this cup here and dissolve some oxalic acid into it. And then I'm going to do one that is just straight acid crystals sprinkled into it. The idea for that is that maybe we will get different results. Maybe I kind of think this one will just be bleached out entirely, but maybe we will get like spots of bleach where the crystals haven't fully dissolved before we pour it. At least I'm hoping that's what this one ends up like, but we will see how it goes. So let's start, I think, by mixing some water with some oxalic acid, because we're going to want to have that ready ahead of time. So I've got a cup of water over here. Just going to put a little bit of that into the bottom of this plastic cup. And then I'm going to take just a good scoop of the acid and drop it into the water, and maybe a second scoop, and then mix it in. This probably won't do anything interesting, but if it does, we want to know about it. Okay, so that is a mix of the acid crystals and water. Perfect. I don't want to leave the wood stick sitting in it though. And now let's start layering our paint. Let's start with white, and we'll just put a layer of white just in the bottom of each of these little cups. And then we'll do what we're going to do for each of them. So in this one, we're putting a little bit of the lubricant, just a tiny little bit. And then in this one, we're doing a little bit of the dissolved acid, just a tiny little bit. That's probably too much. That's okay. And then in this one, we are doing sprinkling, if we can, some of the crystals. There we go. Okay. And then let's put our cap back on our white and add a layer of black to each of these. Whoop, that's not stable. That one needs a little bit more, and that one needs a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and then another tiny spray of the lubricant. And this has too much of the watered acid already in it, so we're not going to do any more of that. But I will see if I can't just add a couple more of the crystals to that one. There we go. And then seal that back down because that should be everything that we need from it, hopefully. And then a little bit of yellow in each cup. Okay. Last of that yellow out into there, hopefully. Okay, so now then, you've seen that I did each of these as equally as I could, just with eyeballing, of course. So let's flip all of them over. One at a time. That can kind of just escape and pour off a little bit. That's fine. And then we will let those each rest for just a moment and try and make sure that they aren't touching each other at the edges. But are still balanced and secure. All right, and then we will start by lifting that cup. That's fun looking. All right, I always forget, this is not a level surface. All right, let me set this down. And let's see. Stick this balloon under here maybe. Oh, without tipping anything over or off. It's a little better. Okay, and then we will lift that one. That one's really cool looking too. I hope these all just turn out really cool. Ooh, that's running everywhere. That extra bit of water changed that whole party. Also, that one stinks. I don't think the acid likes the paint very much. And lift that one. Ooh, that one. That one swallowed up the black. Let's let those rest for just a moment. And then let's just start with our control and tilt it on out, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. I should have put on gloves before this, but that's okay. We all do things and then wish that we'd done them differently sometimes. Over the edge, there we go. And down. Also, this one's just turning out just super cool looking. There we go. Just down that direction. Not dripping it onto any of the others. But trying to coat the tile itself. I just bought these tiles because they were cheap and fast and easy to pour on. These tiles were 60 cents each at the hardware store. So that was pretty easy and quick to get. And I thought they would all be, uniform size and shape, so it would make a good test palette for this experiment. Okay. All right, that is all spread out. Set it back down and get paint just all over ourselves, and then go on to the next one. This one is the one that has the lubricant in it. So we'll see how it goes. All the way up to that edge, and then bring it back. Just way down to this corner here, and then tipped across. Go. This should give us something of an idea of what we can get from each of these different things. We'll see how it goes. And then right down to that corner, which I think I can just get with my finger. Yep, there we go. Okay, then set it back down, and even more covered in paint. But that one's really fun looking. I also really like how that one fades from one edge to the other. Okay, now this one. Let's go to this corner first, I think. All right, that ran off really well. And then down to that corner. Okay, and then across. I'm trying not to lose all this yellow on this side here because that's the only place the yellow is showing up. But I also want to get it off the edges because the point is always to make art, but the point in this particular case is to see what happens when acids are mixed in with our paints. It's probably not a good experiment. I don't recommend trying it. But if you want to, I can't stop you either. All right, and then the last one, which is the one that has the crystals mixed into it, just out to that corner, just all the way. Ooh. Down to this corner over here. Let's rotate that a little bit so we can just tilt it this way as much as possible. Just get everything to run down this way while not completely blobbing off, hopefully. Okay, and then one last corner. Okay. All right, so this is what they look like just after pouring. Some pretty interesting things going on. A lot of different stuff happening. But let's give it 5 days and come back to it, and I will show you what's happened with all of our things. Remember what they look like. The control, the lubricant, the water mixed acid, and the crystallized acid. All right. Now how am I going to turn the camera off? I'm covered in paint. One moment. All right, so it's been a week and our tiles are dry and they've had a time to sit just to see if anything would settle interestingly, and I've got some things that I noticed that are kind of fun, so let's have a look. This was our control. It's got some cells, but not a whole lot. It's got this nice, very thin layer of yellow over the black that ended up really pretty in my opinion, all fadey and wispy and stuff. So I really like that one a lot. Then we've got our one where we used lubricant in it. It's got a lot of cells, which is exactly what we would expect. It's sort of swirly and twisty, which is always really fun. Then we come to our two experimental tiles. This one is the one where we diluted the acid crystals in water and then poured them in between layers of paint. And we've got this really interesting thing going on right across here, where it looks as though the acid ate through the top layer of black but left the under layer of yellow there. So we've got, like, it's not, I don't know if you can tell, if you can see it, but it's not cracked. It doesn't have those clean edges that paint gets when it's cracked. It's got this eaten away look that's really fun and interesting, which I am surprised by. I didn't think that that's what that was going to do, but that's actually really kind of fun. And then the final one that we had is this one, where we added the crystals directly, the acid crystals directly to the paint. And this one, it's got these really diffused speckles. It's got some cells too, but it's got really just a lot of these, like this is an especially good example right here, and this right along here and over here, and just up in this area, these really diffused speckles of white, which my personal theory is that's where the crystals settled and then dissolved and bleached out the paint. So that is, I think, the result of mixing in those acid crystals. This was a fun experiment. I don't know that I will be using the acid in painting again, but it was nice to see that I could and see what kind of effects it would have on the paint, because there are some really actually kind of fun things going on here. Anyway, that's it. That's what I did today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would be happy to hear from you. Definitely let me know. I put up videos mostly every day. Sometimes I miss a day. I'm human. But I hope you like this, and remember to subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!